The wind howled through the empty streets of the alien city. The tall towers that once touched the clouds were now broken bones of steel and stone. Fire scars covered the sky. The world had died long ago, but one small shelter still had life inside. A weak alien mother and her little girl. The mother, pale-skinned with silver eyes, sat in the corner of a broken room. Her child, thin and trembling, clung to her arm. The air was cold. The ground was full of dust and old ash. They had not eaten in 2 days. Every noise outside made the mother's heart jump. Machines still searched the ruins, drones that hunted survivors. She knew if they found them, it would mean death. As the child cried softly, the mother whispered, "Shh, stay quiet, my star." But she knew the child's hunger could not stay silent for long. Then, far away, came a strange sound. Not the scream of a drone, not the rumble of tanks. It was soft like a ship landing. The mother pulled her daughter close, fear in her eyes. "Hide," she whispered. "Don't make a sound." A shadow moved through the smoke. A man in a dusty suit of armor walked carefully among the ruins. His helmet reflected the dying sun. He carried a small pack and looked around slowly, scanning every corner. The mother's heart raced. A human, one of them, the enemy. She picked up a sharp piece of metal, her hands shaking. The little girl tried not to breathe. The man stopped near their shelter. He looked tired, his clothes torn and his boots covered in red dust. He knelt down and opened the pack. The mother held her breath. He didn't take out a weapon. He took out food, real food, sealed rations and water packs. He placed them gently on the ground as if afraid to frighten something small. Then, without saying a word, he stepped back and sat down on a rock. The mother stared, confused. Was it a trap? A trick to make them come out? Humans had destroyed her people's world. She could not trust him. But the smell of food reached her daughter's nose. The child whimpered softly and moved before the mother could stop her. The little alien girl stumbled from the shadows, thin and trembling. The man turned, eyes wide. He didn't move fast, didn't reach for a gun. He just smiled, a small, tired smile. "It's okay," he said softly, his voice low and kind. "It's safe." The girl stopped a few steps away, staring up at him. Her eyes were bright blue, full of fear and hunger. The man slowly pushed the food toward her. "For you," he said. "And your mother." The mother stepped out, holding the sharp metal. "Stay away from her," she hissed. The man raised his hands. "I mean no harm," he said. "Just food. That's all." For a long time, no one moved. Only the wind blew dust between them. Finally, the mother dropped the metal and reached for the ration. She sniffed it, then opened it slowly. The smell made her dizzy. It was real, safe. She gave it to her daughter. The child ate fast, tears in her eyes. The man smiled again. "You should eat too," he said. The mother glared at him. "Why are you helping us?" He looked down at the ground. "Because you're alive," he said quietly. "And that's enough." He stood up, turned away, and began walking back to his small ship. The mother watched him leave. The setting sun cast a long shadow behind him. He didn't look back once. That night, as darkness covered the world, the mother sat beside her daughter, who finally slept with a full stomach. She whispered softly, "Who are you, human?" But the wind carried no answer. The next morning, the sound of engines came again. The mother looked outside, her heart pounding. The same man was there, kneeling in the same spot. He placed more food on the ground, a small smile under his helmet. Then he turned to leave. This time she didn't hide. She stepped closer, still cautious. "Why do you return?" she asked. He looked at her. His eyes were tired but warm. "Because no one else will," he said. The mother didn't know what to say. The little girl peeked from behind her and smiled shyly. The man nodded once and walked away again, fading into the smoke. When he was gone, the mother whispered to her child, "He's a strange one, isn't he?" The little girl nodded, holding her toy tightly. For the first time in months, the mother felt something she thought was lost, hope. But as night fell again, far above the broken city, a patrol drone recorded the man's landing site. Its red light blinked silently in the sky. The mother and her child slept peacefully, unaware that the stranger's kindness had already been seen, and the war would not forgive it. The next sunrise came weak and pale over the broken city. The alien mother woke to the sound of footsteps outside. Her heart jumped. For a moment she thought it was soldiers. But when she peeked through the cracks of the wall, she saw the same human, Eli. He was there again, carrying a small pack of supplies. He placed it carefully on the same rock as before and looked around with alert eyes. His face was rough and tired. The wind moved his hair and the dust clung to his jacket. He waited as if hoping to see them again. The little alien girl tugged her mother's arm. "He came back," she whispered with wonder. The mother frowned, still unsure. "We don't know him," she said. "He could be dangerous." But the child's eyes were full of trust. "He gave us food." Before the mother could stop her, the girl ran out again. Eli looked surprised but smiled. "You're braver today," he said softly. He knelt and took something from his pocket, a small metal sphere. He twisted it and it blinked with a soft blue light. The girl gasped. It was a toy, one that projected tiny stars into the air. Her laughter echoed through the ruins. It was the first sound of joy the city had heard in years. The mother came out slowly, still holding her guard high. "You shouldn't come here," she said. "If your soldiers find you with us..." Eli shrugged. "They don't need to know." He opened the pack and handed her some flatbread and a water bottle. "You both need strength. There's more where this came from." The mother hesitated. "Why do you help us? Your kind destroyed this world." He looked at her with quiet sadness. "Not all of us wanted that," he said. "Some of us just followed orders. And now we try to fix what we broke." For a moment, silence hung between them. The wind carried the smell of burnt metal and dust. Then the little girl broke it. "What's your name?" "Eli," he said. "And you?" The girl smiled proudly. "Lyra." Her mother didn't speak her own name, but Eli nodded respectfully as if he already knew it. Days passed like this. Every sunrise Eli came. Every time he brought food, water, or something small. A blanket, a light, a repaired toy. He never stayed long, never asked for thanks. Yet each visit brought a strange warmth to the cold ruins. The mother began to talk more. She told him about the war, about how she lost her husband in the first bombings, how she had wandered with her daughter until they found this broken shelter. Eli listened quietly, never judging. One evening, as the sun set in golden light, Eli looked up at the sky. "Patrols are getting closer," he said. "You should be ready to move soon." The mother shook her head. "There's nowhere to go. Every road leads to soldiers," Eli frowned. He took a small map from his pocket and unfolded it. "There's an old tunnel under the central tower. It might still lead to the outer hills. If we can reach it, I can signal a friend in orbit." The mother stared at him, her eyes wide. "You would risk your life." "For us?" He smiled faintly. "Maybe I'm just tired of watching good people die." That night he stayed longer than usual. He helped repair the cracked roof of their shelter and shared his ration with Lyra. The little girl sat between them, playing with her light sphere, and for a short time, the world felt peaceful, but danger was never far. In the dark distance, red lights blinked across the ruins. Drones scanned the area, searching for energy signals. Eli noticed first. "They're sweeping this sector," he whispered. He quickly covered the fire pit and turned off the toy's light. "No sounds," he said. "Not even a breath." The mother pulled Lyra close, her heart pounding. They could hear the hum of the drones, the metallic voices giving coordinates. A beam of red light passed across the broken walls, so close it lit Eli's face. He didn't move. Sweat ran down his temple. Minutes felt like hours. Then the drones drifted away, the sound fading into the wind. Lyra whispered, "Are they gone?" Eli nodded. "For now." He looked at the mother. "They're searching for someone who's helping aliens. I think they already know someone's been sneaking food." The mother's voice trembled, then stopped coming. "You'll be killed because of us." Eli shook his head. "I made a promise now." "What promise?" she asked quietly. He looked at the small piece of bread still in his hand. "A promise of bread," he said softly. "That as long as I can share it, no one near me will starve again." The words struck her heart. She didn't know if she should cry or be angry at his foolish bravery. But when he stood to leave, she said, "Eli, thank you." He turned back, the fading light casting gold across his face. "You don't have to thank me," he said. "Just survive." As he disappeared into the smoke, the mother held her daughter close. She could still feel the warmth of his words. High above, the same drone watched, recording everything. Its red lens blinked once before vanishing into the clouds. And somewhere deep inside the mother's heart, fear began to grow again, not for herself, but for the human who was risking everything just to keep a promise. The wind carried smoke again through the cracked streets. Eli crouched behind a half-buried transport hull, eyes scanning the horizon. He had been careful for days, changing routes, avoiding drone paths, using underground tunnels, but he knew the soldiers were closing in. Someone had reported strange heat signals in the ruins. Someone had seen his ship. He waited until the sun dipped low before moving. The familiar broken tower rose in the distance, marking the place where the alien mother and her little girl hid. He carried a smaller pack this time, lighter, quieter. The danger was too close now. Inside the shelter, the mother sat silently, sharpening a broken blade. Lyra, the little girl, played with her glowing sphere, tracing shapes in the dusty air. When she saw Eli's shadow at the door, her face lit up. "Eli," she whispered happily. He smiled tiredly. "Quiet, little star," he said softly. "We have to whisper today." The mother's eyes were serious. "You shouldn't have come. Patrols are everywhere." "I know," Eli said, placing the food down quickly. "But you can't stay here much longer. They're sweeping this zone tonight." Before she could answer, a low rumble echoed across the ground, engines, metal feet. The sound of marching soldiers. Eli froze. "They're already here." He looked around the shelter, no windows, no back exit. The only way out was a hole in the floor leading to an old maintenance tunnel. "Get the child down there now," he ordered. The mother hesitated only a second before pulling Lyra close and pushing her into the dark hole. Eli covered the opening with broken boards and crouched beside the wall. Through a crack, he saw shadows moving outside. 3 human soldiers in gray armor, scanning with flashlights. "Thermal readings say something's alive here," one soldier said. "Could be rats," another replied. "Or one of those aliens." Command said one's been hiding near the tower ruins. Eli's breath came slow and quiet. He could hear the hum of the scanner. Red light swept across the floor, stopping just inches from his boot. The soldiers moved closer. The mother, hidden below with Lyra, clutched the child's mouth to keep her from making a sound. Her heart pounded so loud she thought they'd hear it, then the wood creaked. One soldier kicked the door open. "Check inside," he said. Eli had seconds. He grabbed a rusted metal pipe and pressed himself flat behind a fallen beam. The soldier stepped in, scanning left and right. His beam passed over Eli's hiding spot. Eli threw the pipe. It clattered against a far corner. "What was that?" The soldier shouted, spinning his light. Eli moved fast, sliding out from cover, grabbing the man by the back of his armor and slamming his helmet into the wall. The hit was silent but heavy. The man fell, dazed. Eli pressed a finger to his lips, whispering to himself, "Stay quiet." But the other soldiers heard something. "You all right in there?" One called out. Eli's pulse raced. He had no time. He dragged the soldier's body behind the beam and pressed his back to the wall. The second man stepped into the doorway, just enough for Eli to shove him down and snatch his scanner. The third soldier fired. The shot hit the ceiling, showering sparks. The sound was deafening in the ruins. Eli ducked, fired one return blast, hitting the rifle out of the man's hands. He didn't kill them, he couldn't, but they would call for backup soon. He ran to the floor hatch and whispered, "Go! Go now!" The mother climbed out, holding Lyra close. "What about you?" she asked. "I'll draw them away," Eli said quickly. Before she could protest, he handed her a small silver pendant, a tracker linked to his ship's beacon. "Follow this through the tunnels. When the light turns blue, you're close to my ship. Wait for me there." She grabbed his arm. "They'll kill you," he smiled faintly. "Maybe, but at least they won't find you." Then he was gone, vanishing through the smoke. Down in the tunnels, the mother moved fast, holding Lyra's hand. The pendant blinked faintly in the dark, leading them through dripping pipes and echoes of faraway explosions. Lyra looked up at her. "Will he be okay, Mama?" The mother didn't answer. Her throat was tight. Above them, the city shook. Searchlights swept across the streets. Alarms blared. Eli sprinted through the ruins, dodging behind collapsed walls. A drone buzzed overhead, scanning. He grabbed a broken mirror and angled it to reflect heat from a burning building, tricking the drone's sensors. It turned away, following the wrong trail. He smiled grimly. Not today. But when he reached the top of the tower ruins, he saw something that froze him. The soldiers had called for more. A large gunship hovered over the city, scanning the ground with a bright blue beam. He had minutes before it found the tunnels. He tapped his wrist device, sending a short-coded signal to his ship's AI. Activate smoke beacon. Decoy route Delta. Far away, near the opposite side of the ruins, a false signal appeared, strong enough to pull the scanners away. Eli watched as the beam shifted direction, giving the mother and child more time. Down below, the mother finally reached the end of the tunnel. A dim light shone ahead, Eli's ship. The hatch was open, waiting, but she didn't smile. She looked back toward the burning city. Somewhere out there, that human was still fighting, still running, risking everything just to keep them safe. Lyra held her hand. "He'll come, Mama, he promised," the mother whispered, her voice trembling. "Yes, he did." And as the gunship's lights disappeared in the distance, the stars above the dead city blinked faintly, like silent witnesses to a promise made in the ashes of war. Night had fallen again on the broken world. The sky above the ruins flickered with strange colors: red lightning from distant storms, white flashes from orbiting warships, and somewhere beyond, the faint glimmer of stars. Deep inside an old transport hangar, Eli's small ship sat hidden under a mountain of debris and rusted beams. The alien mother and her daughter waited inside, quiet and afraid. The hum of the engines was off. Only a small emergency light glowed blue in the darkness. Lyra sat on a crate, clutching the glowing toy sphere he had given her. "Mama," she whispered, "why hasn't he come back yet?" The mother stroked her child's hair, forcing a calm smile. "He will, he always comes back," but her voice trembled. It had been hours since she saw Eli vanish into the smoke. Outside, footsteps crunched on gravel. The mother's body tensed, then relaxed as Eli slipped in through the side hatch covered in dust and scratches. His jacket was torn, one arm bandaged with fabric. "Sorry," he said weakly. "Took the long way around." Lyra jumped up and ran to him. "You're hurt!" He knelt down, smiling faintly. "Just a scratch, little star." Then he looked up at the mother. "They brought a gunship, but we have time." I led them away. She shook her head, disbelief and worry mixing in her eyes. "You shouldn't have come back. They'll kill you if they find this ship." Eli exhaled, sitting against a wall. "If I left, they'd kill you instead. I'd rather take my chances." For a long moment, no one spoke. Only the faint hum of the distant storm filled the silence. Then Eli reached into his pack and pulled out a small transmitter. Cracked, half-burned, but still working. "I need to send a message," he said. "My friend's still in orbit. If he gets this, he can drop a rescue pod before dawn." The mother frowned. "Won't the soldiers detect it?" "Probably," Eli admitted. "But if we stay here much longer, they'll find us anyway." He connected wires, adjusted the signal dish, and began typing on a small console. The screen flickered to life with green letters. Channel 09, encrypted link. Attempting connection. He turned a dial, adjusting the frequency. Static filled the air. Then faintly, a voice answered. "Eli? Is that you?" Eli grinned. "Tavern. You old ghost, I thought you'd left orbit." The voice crackled. "I did. Came back when I saw the bombardment." "You're still down there?" "Yeah," Eli said. "And I'm not alone. 2 survivors. Alien mother and child. Need extraction." There was a pause. The voice sounded uneasy. "You know what you're asking, right? Helping aliens is treason. You'll be court-martialed." "I don't care," Eli said flatly. "Just send the pod. Coordinates incoming." He began typing, but suddenly the transmitter's red warning light blinked. The mother's eyes widened. "What's wrong?" "They're scanning communications," Eli muttered. "We have to hurry," he hit the final key. Transmission sent. At once the machine sparked and went silent. A faint alarm echoed outside, faint but real. The mother's heart dropped. "They know," she whispered. Eli grabbed his rifle and ran to the door. They picked up the signal. "We have to move now!" Lyra clung to her mother as the engines of the ship began to rumble. Dust fell from the ceiling. Through a crack in the hangar wall, bright lights appeared, search drones moving fast. Eli looked at the mother. "Get her strapped in." She hesitated. "What about you?" "I'll launch the beacon manually," he said. "If I don't trigger it, the pod won't know where to land." She reached out, grabbing his hand. "You'll die out there." He squeezed her hand, eyes soft. "Not if I can help it." He ran outside before she could stop him. The storm wind hit hard and lightning tore through the clouds. Above, the night sky was alive with movement. Patrol ships, glowing beams, the chaos of war. Eli climbed the broken scaffolding of a tower, holding the signal flare in one hand. When he reached the top, he aimed it skyward and fired. A beam of blue light shot into the heavens, cutting through the darkness. For a moment, it was beautiful, like a message written to the stars. Inside the ship, Lyra pressed her hands to the window. "Look, Mama. The sky is glowing." The mother's eyes filled with tears. "That's him. He's calling for us." But far above, the soldiers also saw the signal. "There at North Sector. Move in," a commander shouted over the comms. Eli watched the lights closing in. His body was exhausted, but his mind was calm. He whispered to himself, "Come on, Tavern, see it. Just see it." And then, through the roaring clouds, a faint shimmer appeared. A small ship dropping fast, leaving a trail of blue fire. Rescue. Eli laughed breathlessly, relief and fear twisting together. He started to climb down, then froze. A drone hovered below, scanning. Its red eye locked on him. He fired once, hitting it square. The explosion lit the tower, and alarms echoed through the ruins. Soldiers were running his way. He turned and jumped, rolling hard onto the ground. Pain tore through his shoulder, but he pushed himself up and ran toward the hangar. Inside, the mother held Lyra close as the ship's lights blinked rapidly. Eli burst in, panting, blood on his arm. "They saw us." "We have to go!" He slammed the hatch shut, started the engines, and the small ship roared to life. Outside, laser fire lit the sky, chasing them as they lifted off. Through the shaking cabin, the mother saw the blue rescue pod descending from the clouds. Hope flickered again. Lyra pointed out the window. "He did it, Mama. He really did it," the mother whispered, her voice full of emotion. "Yes." He sent a message to the sky, and as the ship rose through smoke and fire, Eli looked back at the dying planet, where kindness had bloomed in ashes, and whispered, "Hold on. We're almost home." The ship tore through the dark sky like a wounded bird. Flames of war burned below, turning the ruins into rivers of orange light. Explosions rolled across the horizon as human and alien fleets clashed in orbit above. Inside the small craft, Eli's hands shook over the controls. Warning lights blinked red. The engines screamed. The alien mother held her daughter tight in the back seat, her eyes wide with fear. "Eli, they're following us," she cried. "I know," he shouted over the noise. "Hold on." Through the cracked window, 3 black drones streaked after them, fast, sharp, and merciless. Their laser beams cut through the clouds like red knives. One blast grazed the ship's wing, sending sparks everywhere. The whole cabin shook. Lyra screamed. The mother shielded her, whispering, "It's okay, my star. Stay down." But she didn't believe her own words. Eli slammed a button, releasing a burst of smoke flares. "Come on, come on." The drones vanished in the smoke for a few seconds, but only a few. When they emerged again, their eyes glowed brighter, locking on his signal. He cursed under his breath. "They're heat tracking us. They won't stop." The mother crawled forward, gripping his arm. "Can't you fight them?" "With what?" he said bitterly. "This isn't a warship, it's a cargo shuttle." "I've got no guns." The engine sputtered again. The warning light blinked faster. The hull groaned from the strain. Outside, the world below was chaos. Burning fields, broken towers, and swirling clouds of ash. It looked like the planet itself was dying. Eli made a sharp turn, diving lower through the clouds. The drones followed, their sensors glowing red like demons. "They're pushing us down," he muttered. "They want us to crash." He pulled the lever hard, forcing the ship toward the mountains. Lightning flashed and rain began to fall, a heavy, dirty rain that hissed on the metal hull. "Eli," the mother shouted, pointing. Ahead, through the smoke, a line of glowing fire tore across the ground, a trench of molten metal where a bomb had hit. "I see it," he yelled back. He angled the ship up, but the right thruster gave a sharp, dying whine. The craft tilted sideways, shaking violently. The mother screamed. Lyra cried out, "Mama!" Eli gritted his teeth, fighting the controls. "Not yet. Not yet!" With one last pull, the ship barely cleared the trench, scraping its belly against the rocks. Sparks rained inside the cockpit. Then another blast struck, this time hitting the rear. The shock threw everyone forward. The ship crashed through a line of metal towers and slammed into the ground. The sound was deafening. Metal screamed. Then silence, smoke filled the air. Flames flickered along the side of the wreck. For a moment, no one moved. Then Lyra coughed, her voice small and scared. "Mama?" The mother blinked through the smoke. She saw Eli slumped over the controls, blood running down his forehead. She crawled toward him, shaking his shoulder. Eli, wake up. Please. He stirred, eyes unfocused. Is she okay? The mother turned. Lyra was crying but alive. She's fine. You saved her. He tried to smile but winced in pain. Then it's worth it. Outside, thunder rolled again. But it wasn't thunder, it was engines. The mother looked up through the shattered window and saw dark shapes descending from the clouds. Human dropships, soldiers. They found us, she whispered. Eli tried to stand, but his leg gave out. Get out of here, he said weakly. Take the girl and run. No, the mother said fiercely. I'm not leaving you, he grabbed her wrist. You have to. They'll kill you both if they catch us together. Her eyes filled with tears. You're bleeding. You can't even walk. Go, he said again, his voice breaking. Please. Keep her safe. But Lyra was already beside him, clutching his arm. I won't go without you, she cried. Eli looked at her, helpless, torn between duty and heart. He had faced death before, but not like this, not with 2 lives he couldn't bear to lose. Then, a distant roar shook the air. The sky turned bright blue for a moment. Above them, a large craft descended. Small, sleek, and familiar. The rescue pod. Eli breathed. Tavern made it. The mother's eyes widened. Then we can all go. Eli looked at her, pain in his eyes. No, the pod only seats 2. It's built for fast escape, not cargo. The mother froze. You can't mean, he nodded slowly. You and Lyra go. I'll hold them off. Tears fell from her eyes. Eli, no. He smiled weakly. It's okay. I've lived my life. Yours is just beginning. Outside, the pod landed hard beside the wreck, its hatch open. Move, shouted a voice over the comm, Tavern's voice. They're coming. Eli helped the mother lift Lyra into the pod. Listen, he said, crouching beside the little girl. You remember what I told you? Look up, always look up. That's where hope lives. She nodded, tears streaming down her small face. You'll come too, right? He swallowed hard. I'll be right behind you. He closed the hatch before she could answer. The pod rose slowly, engines flaring as soldiers appeared over the ridge. Eli turned toward them, picking up his rifle with trembling hands. He fired once, then again, his figure outlined by the flames of the wreckage. Above, the mother watched through the small window as the pod climbed higher. She saw the ground flash with explosions, the fire consuming the ruins. She pressed her hand to the glass, whispering his name. Eli. The little girl clung to her, sobbing quietly. Mama, he's still down there. The mother's voice broke. He's buying us a future. Outside, the world below burned. The sky was red, the air full of thunder. But through that firestorm, one small pod rose higher and higher, carrying a mother, her child, and the last living proof that kindness still existed among the stars. The stars were silent. Only the soft hum of the rescue pod broke the stillness as it drifted through the upper clouds, leaving behind the burning planet. Inside, the alien mother held Lyra close, her trembling hands refusing to let go. The little girl had cried herself to sleep. The mother stared through the small window. The surface below was still glowing red, ashes, ruins, and the endless firestorm. Somewhere down there, Eli was fighting alone. Her chest ached. Every breath hurt. She wanted to believe he had made it out, but the memory of the explosion still burned in her mind. Then, a voice came through the pod's radio, crackled, faint, but real. Tavern to escape pod? Do you copy? The mother's eyes widened. Yes, we hear you. Coordinates locked, the voice said. I've got you on scanners. Preparing for docking. Moments later, a shadow appeared outside, a larger ship, battered but strong, floating among the clouds. The pod latched onto its side with a loud click, and the airlock hissed open. A man in a worn pilot suit stood there, his beard streaked with gray. You must be the ones Eli risked everything for, Tavern said softly. Come aboard. The mother hesitated. Eli, where is he? Tavern looked away, guilt clouding his face. We haven't found him, but we picked up a faint beacon signal. It's possible he's alive. Her heart leapt and sank all at once. She followed him into the ship, holding Lyra tight. The hallway smelled of smoke and oil. The small crew glanced at them with shock. They had never seen alien refugees before. Tavern guided them to a cabin. You're safe here, he said. We'll stay in orbit for 1 more hour to scan for him. After that, we must leave. The mother nodded silently. She sat on the metal floor, brushing Lyra's hair gently as the child slept against her lap. Her thoughts raced back to Eli. His tired smile, his quiet voice, the way he said, "I'll be right behind you." He had lied, but only to give them hope. Then suddenly the ship's alarm beeped. Tavern's voice came over the speaker. "I've got something." A distress signal, human frequency, close range. The mother jumped to her feet. "It's him!" She ran to the command deck. Through the main window, a small light blinked below, a red flare moving through the clouds. Tavern frowned. "That's his emergency beacon. He's alive." Without waiting for permission, the mother said, "Then what are we waiting for?" Tavern sighed. "It's risky. The fleet is sweeping the area. If they catch us helping him, we're done." She stepped forward, eyes fierce. "He risked everything for us. I won't leave him behind." The silence that followed was heavy. Then Tavern nodded slowly. "Strap in. We're going down." The descent was rough. The ship rattled through burning clouds, dodging falling debris and lightning. The scanners beeped faster as they neared the signal. "There!" Tavern shouted. Through the smoke they saw him, Eli, lying beside the remains of the wreck, one leg trapped under twisted metal. His flare burned weakly beside him. He lifted his head, eyes squinting at the ship coming through the clouds. The docking ramp lowered. The mother rushed out before anyone could stop her. Heat and ash hit her face as she ran toward him. "Eli!" she shouted. He looked up, dazed but smiling faintly. "You came back?" She dropped to her knees beside him, trying to lift the metal off his leg. It wouldn't move. "We'll get you out," she said desperately. He shook his head. "No time, the scanners are already tracking this ship. You have to leave." Tavern appeared, running from the ramp. "We've got less than 3 minutes." "They're locking missiles." Eli grabbed the mother's hand. "You have to go." Her eyes filled with tears. "No, you're coming with us." He looked at her, tired, bleeding, but peaceful. "I made my choice when I first saw you and Lyra. It wasn't about saving you. It was about saving something worth believing in again." She shook her head violently. "Please don't do this. You've already saved us once. Don't die for us now," he smiled weakly. "Then let me do one last thing right." He pulled a small metal key from his pocket and pressed it into her hand. "That's my ship's access code. Take it. Start over somewhere safe." She stared at it, her tears falling freely. "Come with us, Eli, please." He touched her cheek gently. "Home isn't always a place. Sometimes it's people, and you're already home." The soldiers' voices echoed from the skies. The air shook as engines roared closer. Tavern grabbed her arm. "We have to go now." Eli's voice was calm. "Go, before they take this chance away." The mother kissed his forehead, whispering, "We'll never forget you." Eli smiled one last time. "Good, then I won't be gone." Tavern pulled her back toward the ramp. As the ship lifted off, she watched through the open door as the fire spread around him. Eli raised his hand weakly, waving once before the light swallowed everything. The ship broke through the atmosphere, shaking violently as they escaped into space. The mother stood at the window, her heart shattered and full at once. Beside her, Lyra looked up with tired eyes. "Mama, did he find home too?" The mother held her close and whispered, "Yes, my star. He found it among the stars." Tavern looked back at them, voice low. "He saved you." "He saved us all." Outside, the burning planet faded into the black sea of space. The stars seemed brighter than before, like they were carrying the memory of one human who gave everything for compassion. The stars slowly faded into morning light as the ship drifted above a quiet moon, a small green world untouched by war. Its silver rivers glowed under twin suns and the air shimmered with peace. The battle below was gone now, far behind them. The screams of war had been replaced by silence. Inside the ship, the alien mother sat beside her sleeping daughter. Lyra's small hand still clutched the metal key Eli had given her before he was lost. The mother brushed a tear from her cheek and whispered, "He kept his promise." Tavern entered quietly, carrying 2 cups of steaming drink. "We'll land soon," he said. "This moon's safe. No scanners, no soldiers. You can build a life here." The mother nodded softly. He wanted that, a home for her. Tavern sat across from her. Eli always talked about finding something good in all this mess. I think he finally did. The mother looked out of the window, her silver eyes reflecting the stars. "He gave us more than life," she said. "He gave us hope again." The ship landed gently near a wide meadow of blue grass. Strange flowers swayed in the wind, glowing faintly in the sunlight. Lyra woke up and ran to the open ramp, laughing for the first time since the war. "Mama, look," she cried. "The ground is alive." The mother followed her out, smiling faintly. The air was warm and clean. For a moment it felt like another world entirely, a world that didn't remember pain. She knelt and placed her hand on the soil. "This will be our new beginning," she whispered. Tavern brought out a small crate of supplies. "I'll help you set up shelter," he said. "But after that, I have to leave. Too many eyes still watch my ship." The mother nodded. "You've done enough." "You and Eli both," Tavern smiled sadly. "Eli was the kind of man who made everyone around him better. He'd hate for you to waste that gift." Before leaving, he placed a small transmitter in her hand. "If you ever need help, send a signal. I'll come back." Then he turned and disappeared into the ship. The engines roared softly, then faded into the sky. The mother and daughter stood alone under the twin suns. Days turned into weeks. The mother built a small home using wreckage parts and the materials Eli had stored. Lyra planted seeds in the soft soil, strange glowing plants from their ruined world. Slowly they began to grow, wrapping the little house in color and light. At night they sat by the window and watched the stars. Lyra always pointed at one bright blue star. "That one," she'd say softly. "That's Eli's star." The mother would nod, her eyes full of quiet love. "Yes, my star. That's him watching over us." Sometimes the mother would take out the metal key and run her fingers over it. She never used it to open anything. It had become a memory, a symbol of the man who turned strangers into family. One evening, as the sun dipped low and the sky turned violet, a small sound came from the sky. A faint beep. The mother looked up in surprise. From the clouds above, a small drone descended slowly. Its surface was burnt and old, its camera cracked. Lyra gasped. "Mama, is that—" The mother caught the drone as it landed softly in her hands. Its lights flickered, projecting a broken hologram. Eli's face appeared, faded, glitching, but real. "If you're seeing this," his voice said, soft but strong, "then you made it." "I knew you would." The mother froze, her heart racing. "I never meant for it to end like that," Eli's voice continued. "But I want you to live, to build, to laugh again. The war took everything from us, but kindness. Kindness is what makes us human no matter the world." The hologram shimmered, his smile weak but full of warmth. "Take care of her and tell her, I'm proud of her, of both of you." Then the image faded, leaving only the soft hum of the wind. Lyra began to cry quietly. The mother held her close, whispering, "He kept his word, my star. Even from the stars he found us." That night the sky above the meadow burned with streaks of blue light, meteors or maybe something more. The mother stood outside the small home watching the heavens. "You'll never be forgotten, Eli," she whispered. "Your kindness will live here, with us." Years later, under the same twin suns, the meadow had grown into a small settlement. Other survivors had arrived. Humans, aliens, even soldiers who had deserted the war. They called the place New Dawn. At the center stood a statue, simple, unpolished, made of scrap metal. It showed a human man kneeling, holding out bread to a small child. Below it, carved in both human and alien script, were the words, "He fed the hungry and taught the stars to hope again." Lyra, now older, placed flowers at its base every morning. Her mother watched proudly from their small garden, where glowing plants from two worlds grew side by side. Sometimes, at dusk when the wind blew softly through the fields, the people swore they could hear a voice in the distance, gentle and warm, whispering, "Come home with me." And somewhere far beyond, among the endless stars, perhaps Eli did find a home, not on any planet, but in the hearts of those he saved. The war had ended, but his story had just begun, retold across generations as a legend of hope, humanity, and the man who reminded the galaxy what it meant to care.